So I know what you're thinking. Okay, Lego, didn't you just make a video 2 hours ago about the Canucks and the Blue Jackets game and how that went down, the shootout loss, 4-3 in extra time? And sure, even though we did just talk about that game, the fact that it started at 10 a.m. PST, it threw an entire monkey wrench into the schedule of making videos. And because there were some other big pieces of news that came out regarding the Canucks during that time, I decided to put it off. And now we can finally talk about it. There's room to breathe. The Canucks game is over. The Canucks ended up losing. There are some other topics on the channel if you want to talk about as well. But let's talk today about the NHL's announcement for the Stars of the Week, because this is a pretty big deal. Vancouver getting some representation once again, as the first star of the week is named to Elias Pettersson of the Vancouver Canucks. Now, I'm not gonna lie, some of these selections over the course of the year have been kind of interesting, some weirder than others, admittedly. The NHL seems to have some sort of allergy to ranking some of the best players in the NHL at the top spot week after week. And then you have yourselves the diversity included, where you have to get a new guy in there every single time. It's a very peculiar set of criteria the NHL seems to have, but this criteria has led to this week's worth of 3 stars, headlined by Elias Pettersson, who in 4 games played had 5 goals, 4 assists, and 9 total points. Blake Coleman is the second star of the week with 7 points in 3 games over there in Calgary, and then Alexandar Georgiev went 3-0-0 with a shutout, although I'm kind of intrigued to see him being the guy named as the third star. By the way, Georgiev is literally playing right now as the Habs have themselves a game against the Avalanche. They're starting things out, I think it's 0-0? Yeah, it's 0-0 at the time of recording this audio over here. But all Alexandar Georgiev talk aside, let's go over to each of these 3 names and talk about why they were selected for the bit. Starting out with Elias Pettersson, as he had a pair of 4-point games and led the NHL in goals, game-winning goals, and points to help the Canucks to a perfect 4-0-0 week and climb into first place in the Western standings. Now, interestingly enough, this metric of 9 points in 4 games played does not include the most recent game and the game before that. Pettersson went pointless against the Buffalo Sabres. He probably should have had the point if that goal was not called back for offside, but it was a 1-0 game in Buffalo. Sam Lafferty scored the only point, so Elias Pettersson and his 9 points that he got, they only came in 3 games. 2 4-point nights, the goal against the Islanders, the game-winning goal, by the way, and then the Buffalo game wherein he had 0 points. The goal he scored today, of course, is not counted in the NHL's week-to-week assessment because this article was posted at the morning of before the games even began. So Pettersson had 4 points in 3 games, really, if you wanted to exclude the Buffalo game, but I know it's kind of asinine to do that. Still, though, he had his second of 4 straight game-winning goals as Vancouver won 6-3 against the Eastern Conference leading New York Rangers January 8th. Pettersson then scored another winning goal in the Canucks' 5-2 triumph over the Islanders. He then posted his 10th career 4-point game, one shy of the franchise record, by collecting 2 goals and 2 assists in a 4-3 victory over the Pittsburgh Penguins, capping the effort with an overtime goal for his 4th straight winner, tied for the second longest such streak in NHL history. We had talked about this in the video a few days ago, but yeah, the number 1 guy in NHL history for this thing, where is the video? Here it is. Newsy Lalonde. So over 100 years ago, we had talked about the record being set for most game-winning goals scored by a player in a row. Danny Alfredson is the other guy in the tie nowadays. But if you go over to Pettersson and his entire capping off of the week, it goes out here and says that the 25-year-old Pettersson, who has held off the score sheet in Vancouver's 5th consecutive win against Buffalo, ranks 2nd on the club with 57 points this season in 43 games and is set to appear in his 4th career NHL All-Star game, announced Saturday as one of the 12 players voted in by fans and one of 6 total Canucks representatives slated to attend the event in Toronto. Now, I love how they say 6 and not 5. They're including Rick Tocchet in the assessment. So there you go, baby. Quinn Hughes, Thatcher Demko, JT Miller, Brock Besser, Elias Pettersson, and then Rick Tocchet. 6 names heading over to the All-Star game in Toronto. And I guess we could go out there and talk about some of the other guys here. I have the tabs open. Blake Coleman has been such a monster this season, and honestly, he's been one of the more underrated guys in Calgary, I feel, especially as of late. 37 points, 43 games played. He's on pace for a career-high year. Like, if he keeps up this point production, he'll have more goals and assists than he has had points in almost every other season he's played. He has been such a monster this year, and it goes to show you just how good veteran players can get. He's 32 years old, so I don't really know if anybody expected Blake Coleman, of all people, to go out there and put a season like this up and about, but still, I mean, look at the game log here. Take a look at what he's done in the past week. Look at this, 2 points against the Vegas Golden Knights, 3 points against the Coyotes, 2 points against the Senators, 1 point against the Flyers, 2 against the Predators. He's got 11 points in the month of January in, what is that, 7 games played? He is well over a point per game, and that extends even further beyond into the last month's worth of play too. I know a lot of this because the guy that I played in fantasy this previous week had Blake Coleman, and he was such a thorn in my side, dude. It was crazy. The NHL article goes out there and talks about how Blake Coleman had himself multiple points in all 3 games, including an active 3-game goal and multi-point streaks to rank second in the NHL with 7 points and lead the Flames to a perfect 3-0-0 week. He started by scoring twice against the Flames, yada yada yada, we talked about all this stuff. He closed the week by matching a career high for the second time this season by extending his goal streak to 3 games and notching 3 straight multi-point games for the first time, collecting a goal and an assist for 2 points in a 3-1 victory against the reigning Stanley Cup champion Vegas Golden Knights on January 13th. Oh my goodness, I've complained about this in the past, but the way these sentences are written don't even feel like they're supposed to be read out loud. They just seem like, oh, we're gonna jam all the information that we need all into one little thing here, but either way, the 32-year-old Coleman paces Calgary in goals and points this season and sits 1 shy of his 3rd career 20-goal campaign. Finally, we go over onto the 3rd star of the week, Alexandar Georgiev, who, at the time of recording this audio, literally just got beat by Yuri Slafkovsky on the power play. Let's go, baby! Slafkovsky makes it 1-1, and Alexandar Georgiev lets in the goal in the process, but I am kind of intrigued to seeing Georgiev be placed on this list. Firstly, the fact that he actually got named to the All-Star game with an .898 save percentage is already kind of crazy enough. And then you take a look at the game log, and sure, he had 3 wins and 1 shutout this week, the shutout being against the Vegas Golden Knights, but the other 2 games that he played, I mean, .885 save percentage against Boston, .897 save percentage against Toronto. I get that these were important, meaningful games, but still, the numbers don't really justify to me, like, 3rd star in the NHL caliber play. I mean, that's just what the numbers are telling me. Of course, he played a lot better than numbers would normally indicate, which is why he's on the list in the first place. But still, he got the shutout, he got 3 wins, he went out there and solidified himself in NHL lore for this week. And if we go over to the report here, let's go out there and read what it says. Alexandar Georgiev shared the NHL lead with 3 wins last week, a .195 goals against average, and a .929 save percentage in 3 games played. You're really starting to see the mathematics as to how that 1 shutout changed the game for his week here, because the other 2 games, I mean, 8-8, 8-9 save percentage, not the best, including victories over the reigning President's Trophy and Stanley Cup winners to help the Avalanche to a perfect week. Georgiev made 23 saves and denied all 3 shootout attempts in a 4-3 victory against the Bruins. He then posted his 2nd shutout of the season with a 25 save performance against the Golden Knights January 10th, and closed the week with a 26 save effort in a 5-3 win at the Toronto Maple Leafs January 13th, stopping the final 18 shots he had faced after allowing 3 first-period goals as Colorado rallied for its second 3-goal comeback of 23-24. The 27-year-old undrafted goalie who tops all NHLers in high-danger shots against, according to NHL Edge, was voted into the 2024 All-Star Weekend and is set to becoming the 2nd goalie to represent the Avalanche at the event, following Patrick Waugh, who did so in 97, 98, 01, 02, and 03. Yeah, that Patrick Waugh guy was pretty good, if I do say so myself. So these are the 3 stars of the month. Elias Pettersson had himself a week, or did I say the month? No, the week. Pettersson had a week to be remembered. Blake Coleman has always been a beast. Alexandar Georgiev stood tall after allowing some early goals and stabilizing his numbers in the process. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below about this other piece of Vancouver Canucks news that we waited a little bit to talk about. I hope you enjoyed this. And bye.